I'm getting ready to spend like 4 hours putting together letters, followed by 3.5 hours driving around trying to find places to drop my letters off where no one can find them. And I figured before I do that, or before I go buy stamps, I should tell you guys about Gossip Girl. So I watched Gossip Girl years ago, so I don't really remember it that well. But what I remember is while I was watching it, I kept thinking they put Taylor Momsen in the same clothes as my little sister used to wear. And I kept thinking that it was my little sister because I guess my little sister used to look like her a little bit. And more than anything, what happened is I kept seeing things that happened throughout my life. Like the feds have kids that are super duper mean to us because they apparently weren't keeping things secret at all. And so their kids were sent to come after us, like sent to give us drugs and stuff like that. But more than anything, they were just super mean. And for example, one thing that happens on Gossip Girl that happened in real life is my sister had someone put gum in her hair. And if you've ever tried to put gum in your hair, like you can't like just stick it in there. You have to work it in there. And so my sister had to cut her hair out, or cut her hair because someone put gum in her hair. But more than anything, what really kept hitting me was Serena, which was it sounds like the same name as Taylor's name used to be. Started with an S, and start S-A, and like all these things happened in it that were, and I kept thinking this is Taylor over and over again. And then at the end of the show, my character buys roses for Taylor's character Serena, who was a tennis player. They switched her name, but they changed it to a tennis player's name, And then when he brings her the roses, Amelia shows up. But then Amelia is a character that is never a part of the show ever again after that. So you think, wow, this is when he finally get to be Amelia. But then Amelia disappears, which is kind of like my life, and Amelia would be who Miley Cyrus used to be. And so someone was biased in favor of Miley. They were on Team Miley back in the day. I was on Team Miley too, partially because of that. But it's also just because I used to really, really like her. In fact, she's who I liked the most. If you've heard the song The Most, I talked about it on my blog that she's my favorite. But now it's turned to the point that she's not my favorite. And that's just a complicated situation, and the probability that I'm gonna get back with Miley is probably about 8%, but probably lower than that. The probability of Taylor, I think, is getting closer to like 0%, or it's like 1%, because I'm pretty sure that this guy Joe Alwyn is actually her boyfriend, and Taylor was like, I don't know, when Willow came out, it felt like it was pretty targeted at me. I mean, I'm the bear guy, and then on New Year's, she's got this sad bear picture without Joe there, and then it turns out she's still dating Joe. And when she started to come back to me again, I was like, so Joe is your brother? Because at one point I thought that Joe was her brother that I knew back in the day, and because we switch a lot of people out. It's not just girls that we switch a lot of people out. Like, it's a very, very common thing for us. I know it sounds crazy that we switch people's identities, but man, it really is useful to do that because no one knows who is who, and it makes it very difficult to continue to stalk someone throughout their life if they completely change communities. So you have to understand, my hood went through my windshield when I was 18 years old, and a lot of people's hoods would have went through their windshield. The feds are very, very violent and dangerous, and they're mean people. Like, Gossip Girl is about, in my opinion, it's about how mean the feds were. Or at least how mean their kids were, because their kids were like vicious to us. So if you watch Look What You Made Me Do, which, by the way, I was Dracula in high school in a high school play, and I wrote about it in my blog, and then the next day the Blank Space music video came out. Like the day after, I was living in Nashville at the time. I was at a coffee shop. I wrote about it. Next thing you know, Blank Space comes out, and this guy's wearing a Dracula outfit. And that was when Taylor and I kind of got on the rocks after that, because she starts talking about the guy that she makes out with in the music video a bunch. And I didn't like it. I was like, well, why do you got to rub it in my face? And then I made fun of her for having a small ass. And then Diplo and a bunch of people made fun of Taylor's ass, and then but I only had like 5 followers on Twitter, so I was like, how in the world are people referencing my tweets when I have 5 followers? And it was because I had already been censored. This was after my hunger strike, because I'd already done hunger strike, and then I was writing a blog at the time, and I wrote a lot of stuff that was probably embarrassing, but hey, it worked out. So anyways, in Look What You Made Me Do, Taylor has this, there's like a cage, it's just like someone in a cage or something like that, and I had accused Taylor, my people lied to me and told me that Taylor had sued me, or her label had sued me or something for my music, even though I hadn't even ever made money off my music. I was like, well, how can you sue me if my music's free? And it was just like suing for my rights, which they didn't. And my people lied to me and said that they sued me over Fearless, because I have a song called Fearless, which is awful. Like, I used to post all my terrible freestyles on the internet. And Taylor has a song called Fearless. I was like, well, you stole from me. And I wrote in my blog, I was like, well, I didn't sue Lizzie Grant for having the song I Can Fly, where she's talking about how she's flying to the roof of her cage. And then I have a song, a Glass Road song I haven't recorded yet, which is probably one of my better songs. It says, well, I can't help but be in love straight out of my mind, 'cause every time I close my eyes, there you are, and I can't escape from this cage. I fly to the ceiling, but in a rage, I can't break through the walls, no, they're too big, and I can't break through the bars, no, they're too thick, and I just wanna get... Okay, so that's the bridge, and I'm sure it is. I can't help but be in love. It's very high, and I'm not warmed up right now, and I don't know if I can ever sing that again, which I'm sure I'll try, because it's probably one of my best songs, and I don't even know it. Because I haven't even recorded my first album yet properly, and I haven't recorded my second album, and I have 2 albums written. So anyways, I said, well, I would never sue her for that, and it's because I wouldn't, because sometimes you just give someone a concept and then they use that concept, and the last thing I'd ever want to do is hurt creativity. So anyways, that's why in Look What You Made Me Do, there's a cage, and I don't really know if... I feel like that song was... The music video specifically was very, very... And she's a zombie, like we're zombies, you know, it's a Jewish joke. We came out of the grave, you know, someday the living and the dead will be, and we're the dead family. We're a lot of people. We're the pirates, you know, because back in the day we used to be pirates, and we used to steal from the British Navy all the time, and we used to run around robbing people, robbing all these commercial vessels and taking their treasure. And that's kind of like our history is being Vikings and pirates and we kind of like remove ourselves from history and have like our own secret history where we have run around stealing gold from people. And that's why we have massive treasure stashes that no one knows exist. Our treasure stashes are folklore. So, this is all for psychological warfare purposes, and it is. If you think about it, it's very psychological warfare-y. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure that Taylor is actually with Joe, and like while she's with him, she kind of tried to get back with me with this new song Willow, which is a very good song. It's very, very good. But if that's the case, I don't know. The FBI would know better than me. Do you guys think that Joe Alwyn under surveillance because he's trying to spy on other people, and when he's trying to spy on other people, it makes it so that he ends up under surveillance? If that's the case, then you would know if he's a spy. The reality is, English spies are so freaking exhausting. Like, they're like everywhere, and they're intrusive, and they're like, they will marry your ass, and they are very, very, very bold, and their spies have ruined it for their entire country, because the reality is, it's really hard for me not to put England on our team during World War III, because every freaking artist on the radio that's good, every musician, every person on TV, or all these people that are writers and stuff seem to be English, even though they're not. I mean, but for me, it doesn't matter because I dislike your government that much. So, yeah, I'm gonna go put together letters. This is gonna be a long day. I've got a lot of work ahead of me. So, I'm out. Peace.